Welcome to the Private Tutor SL, and I'm here to share with you a few points you must know before you go to write the Strategic Business Analysis exam. I want to mention from the outset that this exam is one of the most unique exams of all. And this is so because this exam does not require knowledge from the textbook or the revision kit. It is entirely common sense. But here is how you are supposed to apply that common sense. So the points I'm going to share with you in this short session are going to tremendously help you succeed in this exam. And by succeed, I don't mean just passing an exam, but also being able to pass with higher marks and being able to solve real life situations at a place of work. So please stay with me and stay with me to the end in order for you to benefit fully from these points I'm about to start sharing with you. So there we go. Yes, I've made a PDF, and this PDF I've named it Business Analysis. If you need a soft copy of this PDF, feel free to send a WhatsApp message at 0953 9797 or simply search for the Private Tutor Essay on Facebook and send the message in our inbox, and we'll be able to send you the PDF. So let's get to the work. As you can see, I have developed some 11 points that you must be able to know before exam day. So let's go to point number 1. In order for you to pass strategic business analysis or business leader, that is for ACCS called business leader, for Zika is analysis is 3.3. The first thing you must know is that it's okay for you to learn all the theories. As you can see, we are saying learn all the theories. Now, it's not just about learning all the theories. When you learn all the theories, be prepared that very little of it will come up. So this means that you don't need to use any model in order for you to pass this exam. Even though you are finding it difficult to understand models, you can pass this exam because this exam is purely common sense. You need to think in this exam. The exam for strategic business analysis, I want to mention that it is a very, very practical exam. It is different from these other exams. In fact, it's even more unique than advanced audit and assurance. Because in this exam, you need to respond in a way you would respond in an actual place of work. You must be the boss. You must be the manager. You must be an employee in this particular company. Because if you are in this exam and you start answering questions by explaining theories and definitions, you will definitely get 0 marks. That's how easy it is to fail. Even though you properly explain a concept, you still be able to get 0 marks. And I must mention that if I was your boss, I ask you a question at the place of work, you begin defining definitions, explaining theories, I definitely will fire you. Because what I want from you as your boss, when I ask you a question or I pose a challenge, I need a practical solution from you. And that's the mindset we want you to have in this particular exam. Please, you have to note that I am not condemning theories, because theories are actually beneficial. But the point I'm trying to bring to your attention is that this exam is practical, which means that it is more beneficial for you to be practical than to simply keep on defining concepts. That is what you must be able to understand in order for you to pass this exam. That is point number 1. So please take your time to read through point number 1. I'll be able to share this PDF with you. And then I go to point number 2. Point number 2, as you've seen, I've written there, I've said make sure to check out past exam papers before exam day and pay attention to the formats. If you are checking past exam papers, remember, in the past exam papers, you are not checking because you want to learn the answers. No, those answers will not help you in a real exam. What you are learning in that past exam papers, you are looking for the formats. You see, you're looking for the formats, because these formats that are examined in different exams are the ones which are most likely to come up in your exam. And these formats could be sometimes business letters, reports, memos, emails, etc., etc. And please take time to read all examiners' reports, especially from those that are of recent examinations. When you're reading those examiners' reports, don't rush. Take time to notice the common mistakes students make and what is expected. Because if you see the common mistakes the students are making and what is expected of you, then you will be able to do better when you meet something similar to what the examiner talked about in their report. I must mention that I noticed with concern that the revision kit are somewhat different from what actually comes up in the exam. Therefore, there is important need for you to please be able to revise using past exam papers. Because if you are so much focused on using the revision kit, I can assure you, you are going to be very, very disappointed in this exam. This exam is a bully if you depend on the revision kit or the study manual or whatever it is that you want to depend on. The only thing to depend on in this exam is purely common sense. And I'm going to explain why I'm emphasizing so much on common sense. Let's go to point number 3. Point number 3, always and always, in order for you to succeed in strategic business analysis or business leader, please use the ensemble way. Those people who start with us, they know that the ensemble way is the free way. What I mean by that, that you first have to get all the free marks before you do anything else. How do you get the free marks? Get every mark that is available for free. That thing that does not need you to start calculating. There is always a free mark in every exam. Don't come and do them at last. Quickly start by doing the free marks, and then you can move on to other points. That will help you to be very fast and also to save on time. Point number 4, as you can notice, there's a lot here, and now this is where I need you to pay attention. Now, you see, this exam is unique. At this level, this is a strategic exam. You must be able to come up with real practical solutions. And because it's a strategic exam, it means that for you to pass, you must have a strategy. Now, one strategy is that instead of using bulletin points in this exam, it's best if you use the short paragraphs. Don't write bullet points. Please, 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 you are going to fail terribly. Use short paragraphs, especially 2 to 3 sentences. And in order for you to come out professional, please be able to underline each heading. Madam answer that you answer, you underline. Why you are doing that? Because you want to make it easier for the marker to come and mark you. So let's go. Let me read for what I've written here. We say, for example, one paragraph may be equal to 1 point made, which can score at least 1 to 2 marks depending on how well developed it is. Even if you write the whole page, you must understand that if you simply mention 1 point in that page, you have to be able to get 2 marks. You won't get anything more than 2 marks. Hence, don't waste time explaining things that are irrelevant. If a question, for example, is worth 10 marks, don't waste time. Allocate each marks to 2.5 minutes. So that means if you multiply 2.5 minutes per mark by 10 marks, you'll be able to write that 10 marks in 25 minutes, which should be able to help you to get 100 marks in 250 minutes. But to do that, I must mention that this requires discipline. You must be able to be disciplined at the exam, follow time, don't rush, don't panic, think through things. If your question is worth 10 marks, please, 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 please make 5 to 6 points. And I've indicated here in the PDF, make 5 to 6 points if the question is worth 10 marks. You can contact me via email or the number that I've provided in the PDF at the end of this session if you want to know more on what you need to do now to answer the structure. But for the purpose of this session, we are saying it's best to use 2.5 minutes on every mark that you are going to get. Point number 4. Point number 4 is also very important. You must be able to read the question. If you are somebody who rushes because you've seen something similar, something that you've seen in a previous exam before, you always are going to get 50% or below 50%. Read the question. Please make sure you understand the question. To understand the question means to know what the examiner requires of you, to know what exactly this examiner wants you to write. Make sure you really understand what it requires. Do not get carried away by a keyword and write everything you know on a topic. No, you're going to waste time. This exam has got a lot of keywords, so don't be carried away when you see keywords. Answer specifically what is required. Don't bring in what you want to answer to make your answer look whatever you want it to look like. No, be specific. This is a strategic paper. You must be specific to a specific problem. So, answering, I want to mention that sometimes you'll be shocked in this exam because sometimes you'll be giving answers that make you feel like you're just making things up. You see? But this is because this exam, my friends, is so different from other exams where mostly they test pure knowledge. This exam, they don't test knowledge. It is not a memory test. It is an exam where the examiner focuses on your mental faculties. They want to see what you can do in real life if you are a manager, if you are a boss, if you are this key employee. It is a strategic exam, not a memory test. You don't need models to pass this exam. Actually, if you go so much on models, there's a higher chance that you're going to fail this exam. Those are the people who get shocked that they found all the models but they still failed because of failure to use pure common sense. Point number 4. Is it a point number 6? Yeah, that's number 6. Yes. I want to mention that please always see the word and. Why? You must see this word and. The word and is a keyword because sometimes one question may ask for 2 things. Please be very careful. I repeat, be very, very careful because sometimes questions can also be very specific. Take, for example, they will ask you to describe risks to the company, but narrow it down and say risks associated with the strategy. You see? So the exam is going to narrow it down to this point here. So that means you have got to answer the question and talk about the specific risks that are in line with this specific strategy. Do not generalize answers in this exam. Otherwise, you waste 3 hours just rambling about in the exam, and the examiner won't do so much about it. Let me repeat what I just said. I said that sometimes questions can also be very specific. For example, they will ask you to describe risks to the company, but narrow it down to say the risks associated with the strategy. In that case, you then need to come up with only this type of risks based on the scenario and make sure you link that kind of answer to the strategy in a clear way. But to do that, you must have your head in the exam. What I mean by you must have your head in the exam, I mean that please don't leave your head home. No matter how much you are tempted, please carry your head. I beg you in the name of whatever it is that may make you to want to leave your head at home. Don't choose the manual or the revision kit over your head. Even if they gave you the manual and the revision kit to go in this exam, you still can't pass if you don't use common sense because there are no answers in the manual. They are only suggested ideas of what you are like to do in a certain situation, which will always be unique in each exam. Please remember to carry your head as you go to this exam, and please be relaxed. Number 7 there's a wonderful point which I think is worth knowing. I've written there that please understand that this exam is not just about correct answers, but also time management and planning is key. It's not about the correct answers. You must be able to plan, manage your time properly in order for you to pass. Don't be carried away with a simple question that you're going to find in this exam and then you want to spend so much time. No. No matter how sweet the question is, do not use more than 2.5 minutes per mark. That way you'll be able to finish everything and be able to go through without any difficulties. Exercise discipline. Normally this exam, you'll be required to answer 3 to 4 questions. So it's usually easy for you to allocate time. But at the same time, here you may be asked to answer even more than 3 or 4 questions, which may also make it more easier for you to run out of time, especially if you're doing ACCA, where they may be able to ask you more than 3 to 4 questions sometimes. So always in the exam, as you go, if the questions were 20 marks, 15 marks, or 10 marks, please write here. I've indicated here. We have said please write the exact timings next to each question. Please do that. Write the exact timings next to each questions. And it's only best that you give yourself 2.5 minutes per mark. That's going to help you. Take, for example, if a question is worth 10 marks, simply get that 10 multiplied by 2.5, which gives you about 25 marks. And that should be able to help you if it is properly followed. You will never run out of time. And I must mention that for you to be able to do that, you require discipline. If you are disciplined in this exam, you don't panic, you don't rush, you should be able to pass. You don't need models to pass this exam. I repeat. And one key thing I want to mention here is that in this exam, please be the boss. Be the boss in this exam and be in the question. Is it a scenario? Be in that particular scenario. Now, what I mean, how can you be in that particular scenario? You must be able to read between the lines. Read between the lines of the scenario to give good answers. What I mean is that you must be able to imagine that you work for this company. Imagine yourself that you work for them in that particular exam. Try to understand how the company operates. Understand how the company operates. That is very, very important, because once you understand how they operate, you will be able to come up with practical solutions to the specific problem that the examiner is presented in the particular exam. Because you know the problem, then you can come up with a reasoned solution in that exam. Please read carefully the description. Is it a manufacturing company? Is it a service company? Or perhaps, what is their strategy? Ask yourself those questions. What is their cost leader? Or what is their differentiator? All those things you must be able to know. When you fully understand how the company works, you will find it easy to find real-life solutions to the question. I'm underlining this point here. You will find it easy to find real-life solutions to the problem. In short, what I'm saying is that you have to always think like a boss. Please, think like a boss, not like an assistant. If you are thinking like an assistant, you'll be restricted, because usually assistants, they have fear of using initiative because they don't want to be condemned at the end of the day. They don't want to be responsible, they don't want to be answerable. But when you are the boss, you take responsibility. So in this exam, take responsibility. Make a decision based on what you would do in reality if you were the boss. You must be the boss. One most important thing I've come to learn over the years of my being a student, through my entire school life, either primary based, secondary, university, college, whatever it may be, is always be relaxed and stay calm. It is important in this exam that you stay calm. I'll give you one reason. One reason is because this exam will make you feel down. It will make you feel like you don't know anything. It will make you feel like you've not studied. Because most of the things you're going to meet are going to be completely new. Exactly or completely different from what you've always known in the textbook and the revision kit? And the reason is simple, because the answer is in the exam, not from what you've done in the revision kit or in the mind. So even though the paper seems to be challenging, please be positive and confident, but not too confident for your own good. Be confident that you're going to pull through, but don't be overconfident. The reason why I'm discouraging you to be overconfident is because when you are too confident, there's a higher chance that you're going to neglect certain important things. But when you just come, relax, and normally confident, you'll be able to answer things properly. What will shock you sometimes in this exam, that you are going to find that the whole exam is elucidated to the theories you've learned. Have you seen that? Very few things are going to come from the theories you've learned, and to be extremely different from what you may be expected. But even when that may be the case, please don't quit. Number one, because you're not a quitter, and number two, because you're not in the quitting business. You're not in the business of wasting money on paying exam fees. Keep going. Please keep going, even with tears. Please keep going. Even though your situation may seem hopeless, just keep going. Keep using common sense. Please keep going. Because sometimes what seems to be a real answer is the exact opposite of what the real answer is. So don't be discouraged. Just trust your common sense and use the real life solutions to a particular situation that the examiner has presented to you. So what I'm encouraging you here is that please keep using common sense. This exam can really surprise you. It can surprise you, I can assure you, as I mentioned earlier, because sometimes what seems to be a correct answer may just be the exact opposite of the correct answer. But if you keep going with common sense, you'll be shocked how many marks you're going to get when the results are out. So please, dear friends, keep going and never give up. Never be intimidated, never give up, never be discouraged. This exam is highly passable, except that it's only tricky if you don't use common sense. Okay, the other point I'd like to share, this should be point number 10, is that, ACCA and Zika exams, they tend to be scenario-based. Most of the times they are scenario-based, I must mention. So what that means that you must be able to apply all your knowledge. Now here, what it means that the knowledge by all your knowledge, I mean not only from this particular syllabus of 3.3 or strategic business analysis or business leader, but throughout the scenario exams for Zika and ACCA. What I mean, the same approach that is used on scenarios in advanced financial reporting or SPR is the same kind of tactic that may be able to apply in this exam also. What this means is that there are some things that may completely not in the syllabus of this exam, but if they make sense, they are able to be applied in this exam and you'll be able to get good marks. Because what the examiner looks for when he's making this exam is looking for a person who is able to think. He's not looking for a person who is able to memorize stuff. No, the examiner wants to be sure that you are thinking and not making stuff up, not memorizing concepts. You are using your common sense and you're using reasonable thinking. I want to mention, as I've indicated here, that work hardest on exam day, and please be able to get every mark that is available. Attempt every mark. Don't lose hope. Even if you don't know it, just use common sense and write something. You'll be shocked how many marks you'll be able to get. But if you say, no, I've never seen this, you're too scared, you stop, you jump, no. Even if you've never seen it, this exam is practical. Think about if it happened to you in your life, what would you do? What you would do in reality is what the examiner is looking for, not what is written in the textbook. The textbook is simply there to help you get ideas, not necessarily to give you proper answers in the exam. For the past you struggle, let's say, there will always be a point where you struggle in the exam. There's always a question that you don't understand sometimes. So for the past you struggle, please read the question again and again and again. why are we saying so? In order for you to be able to understand it. If you still go back, read again. What is the examiner saying here? What point am I missing here? Think about it. Don't rush. It's better to read and understand than to rush writing wrong things that the examiner is not looking for. Because why I'm saying read again is that almost always the wording of the question gives you a clue of the answer that is required. So if you read the question properly, you're going to find that the wording of the question will give you a clue of the answers that are required. There is always a word in the paragraph. There is always a word in the sentence. There is always a word in a question that gives you a clue of what the examiner might be looking for. But because it's a strategic business analysis or business leader, the examiner will never be straightforward. It will always provoke you to use your common sense. And if you can't use your common sense, you must be sure it will be difficult for you to pass this particular exam. So be able to think about the situation and give your reasoned opinion. By giving when I say give your reasoned opinion, I mean you must be able to consider the scenario and mention supporting facts. You see? Read the scenario, think about it, then come up with supporting facts, real supporting facts. Are these facts in the question? Are these facts in real life? These supporting facts should come from the scenario itself, not from the textbook. Be able to say, I'm thinking the strategy that should be given is this and this because of this and this. Company Mapesa PLC is in this particular business. If they did this, this is likely to happen because of this. You are getting facts from the scenario itself, not from the textbook. Please, always be able to draw conclusions and suggestions from the question itself. This is not to mean that you can't refer to the textbook knowledge. No. The textbook knowledge, of course, is important to help you have the basic idea of what you expected. And that knowledge should be able to help you to come up with your own thinking. Don't copy and paste. That way the examiner will not be so happy about you. And if the examiner is not so happy with your answers, then you know he's going to give you 48. And if he wants to piss you off, he will give you 49. Let's go to another point here. You must understand that it's not about learning all the models in strategic business analysis or leader. It's not about learning all the models in strategic business analysis or leader. It's not about the models. Most people get worried when they don't know the models. They will be calling you, hey, Mr. Musambo, I don't know the models, I'm scared. It's okay. The models will not make you pass this exam. This exam is about applying what you know. Please apply what you know. Even if it's not related to any particular models. Just apply what you know. Even though that thing you know is not necessarily applicable to or related to a specific model, just apply it. The models are there to help you plan your answer. You must understand that. I've indicated in the PDF, the models are there to just help you plan your answer. Have you seen? But what that means is that they won't necessarily give you the answers that make real sense. You can use the model, the portals, whatever it is, you may use the model. That model is just there to help you plan your answer. You must understand that the model will never give you the answer that will make real sense in reality. It is there to help you plan your answer. Use your common sense to make that model work for you. Don't restrict yourself to thinking within that particular model. No. You must think without the model, without the box. So please, one thing I noticed is that most students, they love so much fitting their answers in a model. Please, do not fit your answer around a model. Do not fit your answer around a model, because that will restrict on your writing of content. Imagine if you are just thinking about this Potter's model, or is it whatever 5 forces model, And you are going to be restricted to use your common sense because you are restricted to think about the model. So don't make it a habit of wanting your answers to fit within a particular model. No, you must be able to use common sense in order for that model to work for you. So even without a model, I've interviewed lots of students, and I've been able to see that most of the students have passed without using any model in the exam. I've had a lot of students with this particular paper, and they'll be able to tell you that actually most of them have just passed without using any single model, and they passed, they made it. So you don't need a model to pass. Remember that point. So what I'm trying to say is that the other key thing that you need to do before exam day is to attempt as many exam questions as possible. Now, what I want to mention to you is that those exam questions that you attempt the past exam papers, the examiner does not expect you to answer according to where they answer in their solutions of the past exam papers. Those ones they put in the past papers, they are simply suggested solutions. They're not the exact answers they want you to write. So please avoid copying and pasting things from the past paper in the after exam. Because what is actually in the past paper is simply suggested solutions. Please, you have to be able to remember that. And one thing I want to mention here is that there's something I did not tell you from the outset. I hid something from you. One thing I hid from you from the outset was that after I did a thorough research and study of this particular paper, I found out that actually there are no correct answers in this exam. That's what I've come to discover. It's a funny fact. You know, I want to repeat that statement. And let me just read it for you. I'm going to say that after a thorough research and study of strategic business analysis and leader, I've come to a rather strange fact. There are no correct answers in this exam. What this means that 2 different students, even 10 different students, 20 different students, 100 different students be able to give 100 different answers, and all of them get them correct. Why? Because the examiner looks for correct thinking. The examiner looks for reasonable thinking. Now, when we say reasonable thinking, this is the kind of thinking which gives rise to reasonable answers. This therefore means that in order to pass, you must think. You must think. Don't memorize concepts. Don't memorize models. Don't memorize theories. Think in this particular exam. You must think at all costs in the exam. In order to do that, I want to mention for you to be able to think, please, you must always carry your head when going to write this exam. When going for statistical business analysis or business leader, please, don't leave your head home. Carry your head. Do not leave it at home. If you leave it at home, what I mean that you go with the theories in your head, the manual, the revision kit. No. Go with your head. Think for yourself in this exam. If I am the CEO and a director, all of that is behaving like this, what can I do? Because you are the boss in this exam. Come up with real life solution in this exam. Remember the answers in the revision kit and the questions. For me, I don't recommend that students do revision kits for this particular exam. I've noted with concern that the questions in the revision kit, they are somewhat different from what actually comes up in the real exam. So I usually advise students to just actually go past, practice past exam question papers, not revision kit. Of course, the revision kit is good for learning purposes. It is highly recommended. I also recommend the revision kit that you should be able to use it. But as you near the exam, forget the revision kit. Stick to the past exam papers and try to think for yourself. Don't memorize answers because they are not the answers the examiner wants you to come and put in the actual exam. Each exam for statistical business analysis or business leader is very, very unique. So these are some of the few points that I thought I should be able to share with you. And for those of you who may want to be able to contact us, there is the number for the private tutor SL. please, you can simply call that number or WhatsApp to be able to send for this PDF. So that you want to sit down, read point by point slowly, ponder about what we've talked about, and see how best you can prepare for the forthcoming exams. Or you can simply send an email to either this one, this email address here. You can send an email, or you can simply be able to give us a phone call using this particular number. Yeah. So I want to say this exam is extremely passable. It's something that is reasonable to pass, but I don't want to pretend and tell you that it is very easy, because it is not. This exam requires you to think. If you're able to use your common sense, then this exam can really be easy for you to get higher marks. Most people get shocked. They would even tell you that they are surprised they got 70% or they got 65% or they got 80%, because they did not use any model, but they are surprised to get 70%. Why? The examiner found some sense. Do not come with common sense, which is not common in this exam. It's going to be difficult for you to pass. So while you read the theories, you do your revisions, you do your rev kit, you do your past exam papers, one thing I want to assure you is that this exam has got its own answers, and the answers are found in the exam itself. So be able to read through the question papers properly and make sure you understand them. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. This has been the Private Tutor SL. And if you want to know more, or if you want to do tuition with us, feel free to contact us at the number that's been provided below. Those are our contact details, and we'll be happy to work with you. Thank you so much, and we wish you all the best in the forthcoming exams for strategic business analysis, for business leader, and also for other courses.